Content warning. The following show contains smoking, potty mouth language, discussions of possible fictitious violence, but definitely a few things that might make people feel kind of uncomfortable. We hope not, but it just might. But either way, viewer discretion is advised. Boy, aren't you saying something today? Yeah, I am. But either way, I figure we should probably start the music. Yeah, let's do that. Hey everybody, what is going on today? This is Solar Gray, the Cinematic Sorcerer, coming at you from the Wizard's Tower. And welcome to the Dark Side of the Room. This is the show where we talk about all that nerd stuff. What is up? That's right. I'm a nerd. You're a nerd. That guy over there is probably a nerd. That person over there is most definitely a nerd. And we like talking about nerd stuff. And we've got so much nerd stuff to talk to you about today. Now, it's actually kind of a funny thing. Since I started doing 3 shows a week instead of 5 shows a week, that gives me a little more time to prep for a lot of shows. And that has been hell on my ADD. Oh my god. I'm just sitting up going, no, stop procrastinating. I'm trying not to procrastinate. But that's okay. So we got a lot of stuff to talk about today. Today we're going to check out the interviews, the 3 major interviews that I took, 4 major interviews that I took over at Long Beach Comic Expo last weekend, and we're gonna talk a little bit today. Who was that now? Oh, now you're getting back to me. I freaking love it. I freaking love it. Okay. Hang on real quick. On the air. All right. So now that we've got all that stuff done and talked about and taken a care of, as I was saying, so we've got the Comic-Con stuff. Gonna talk to you guys a little bit over because of the fact that today I was actually out on the picket lines over at Paramount Studios and all of that jazz, so that was kind of nice. Got to see some Star Trek folks. If y'all ever get a chance to like take a picture with Nana Visitor, you guys know her as First Officer Kira from Deep Space Nine, do so. She is such a hip lady, man. I'm telling you. But we're gonna talk a little bit about walking the picket line and why I did it today and all that stuff. And we've got some upgrades and new rules coming out from Warhammer 40k and one-page rules' Grimdark Future and one-page rules Age of Fantasy. Okay, so we got a lot of stuff to talk about today, and this is why I'm glad we're doing that thing. But before we get it going, if you guys got any questions or comments or anything like that, feel free to reach out to me over at backinthedeck@gmail.com. That's BACKINTHEDECK at gmail.com. You can also reach out to me at Twitter at backinthedeck, or sorry, Twitter X. We didn't land on the internet. The internet landed. Oh God, I can't. I am not going to equate Malcolm X to Elon Musk. That's just horrible. And yeah, you can also get a hold of me on Instagram and TikTok. And if you are still on Facebook, you can totally join Deckers on the Book and show us the stuff that you're making and all that stuff. So, with all that being said, one last thing. If you guys are kind of busy and can't really listen to this stuff at work, you know what? We got you. Number one, Twitch keeps this thing up for a little while so you can watch it video on demand, like some of our people do. Especially those of us from the land of beer and cheese. And you can also hit us up on Spotify. What? That's right. Our podcasts are totally on Spotify. You can listen to this while you wash your dishes, while you pretend to be looking out for family members or whatever. But yeah, so we're here. We're doing all that. You can totally reach out, give a help. If you guys are watching over on them YouTubey tubes, like, subscribe, share, do all those YouTube things. I want to get that stuff out of the way as soon as we can, and if you guys really find some stuff useful and find some value and some of the stuff that we do, well, I'm putting a donation button right here in the chat. Wait, my chat isn't popping up. What is up with my chat? I don't know what's up with my chat. But it's not popping up on the screen, so I guess I'll just be talking to you guys there. But it is in the chat. Go ahead and hit me up with the donations for a one-time thing, or subscribe here using your Bezos money. Major shout out to a couple of our diehard fans, because they gave out like 20 subscriptions already. So if you guys are watching this going, I didn't subscribe to this channel, that's because some of our deckers, especially the international ones, are like, you know what, while I'm here, take 10 free subscriptions. And that is awesome. So thank you guys, and you know who you are for doing that out there. And of course, you can come check us out, like I said, here at Bag in the Deck Productions on Spotify. What is that? Oh no. And of course, we've got Neon Arlecchino putting up the Discord link right here in the chat. Just go check it out. It's right here. Oh, sorry, it's right here over on your little chat thing. You can see the chat thing right down there if you're watching this on Twitch. And finally, if you guys really want to help us out, well, head on over to tpublic.com and the link that I just put out there, and get yourselves a coffee mug, maybe a t-shirt or a hoodie or something like that. That really helps us out, y'all. And when I say helps us out, I'm trying to make a living from doing this, and not a big living, like real talk. I'm not trying to be like Hassan Jabi or Mr. Beast or anything like that. I could put a number out there and all that stuff, but I've been told that's bad taste or whatever, and y'all know how the internet is. You make one misstep and people are like, I can't believe that they did that. So, yeah, it is definitely one of those things. So, check out some merch. Pick yourselves up some coffee cups. When I have disposable income, I will be picking up more coffee cups, because y'all watch me drink coffee every single show. And I totally should be drinking coffee out of one of my little saw mugs right here. Like the little me that's right there, maybe the wizard me, that would be kind of cool. So yeah, that is definitely a thing that, oh, thank you so much, Cyber Drake Luca. Oh man, it looks like my announcements aren't popping up here, and the only way to make that work is to like stop my thing and start it again. So let's see here. Let's see how many people are here. Okay, all right. Actually, since we don't have any new people, see, I am back now. Look at all that. So, yeah, that was a thing. I just had to reload the software and all that jazz. And I'm like, see, right there, reload the page. So let me just put that back out there. Yeah, just follow the stream and, hit up that link and all that jazz. So thank you guys for your subscriptions, and thank you for using Jeff Bezos's money, because we spend too much of our own money and we don't have, like, this dude pretty much like loses in the cushions of his couch what most of us make in a year, which is one of the reasons I want to go to his house during a dinner party so that I can just sit on the sofa, talk to a couple of people who are in tax brackets that I don't even want to know the thing about, and maybe check the couch cushions every once in a while. Be like, oh my God, I found like $600 at this party. This is fun. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Yep. Not going to happen. It's not going to happen. And I've been to the houses of billionaires. Their sofas don't even have cushions. I mean, seriously. So we should get into talking about today's show. All right. So yeah, we got some good stuff coming down today. Now, I've been talking to you guys for a little while. Okay, just a little while. Oh wow. Thank you, Neon. It's not just barely learned about gang fight games. Really? It's another free skirmish rule. Okay. Well, we will check that out. Yeah, we will check that out, and who knows, maybe one of these days we'll do a thing on it. But I really want to talk to you guys about the Long Beach Comic Expo, partly because I really want to wrap all this stuff up. I totally get all that, Cyber Drake Luca. Unfortunately, today I am still drowning. Right after I get off of the stream, I got to get in the car and drive. Got another 20 or 30 miles to take care of another thing. And oh my God, do we got a hype train? Oh, thank you. Wow, we got a hype train. But yeah, unfortunate, like I said, yeah, we got that kind of thing going because yesterday was my younger brother's funeral. And I am still doing my best to get that stuff taken care of, y'all know. Yep. Okay. So, now that we got all that stuff going, yeah, it has been a month, hasn't it, y'all? What's it? So as I was saying, we were doing Long Beach Comic Con, and there were a few videos that pretty much came out that I wanted to I'm gonna be okay. I'm gonna be okay. It's just sign of the times, sign of the times. And that's kind of a thing. I'm not gonna go into too much detail about it because the family would be a little upset, about my little brother and me broadcasting like the tragic nature of his death. But, the funeral was yesterday and I'm still kind of emotionally sore from it. But yeah, we're going to do the thing. Yeah. Oh no, dude, I'm not going to lie. I am not stoic. I am the opposite of stoic. Like my neighbors are like, "Are you okay, buddy?" And I'm like, "No. Now just leave me to be. I got my loincloth. I got my wizard staff. Now I got to finish painting symbols in my body made out of freaking mud and various things." And they're like, "Oh, okay, buddy. Just, could you bring your garbage cans in?" "Yes, I'll bring in my garbage can. I need the garbage cans. I have to fill it with ice so that I can sit in it and brood." That kind of thing. Oh my God. So I want to show you guys some of the other stuff, some of the other people that I ran into. Hopefully they're watching on the YouTubes, but I got to pull it up and see if that's actually the case. That would actually be kind of cool. But the first person that I talked to, that I was really happy with and interested in and all that jazz, please tell me I'm muted. I'm not. Okay. Um, Let me give myself a thumbs up. Hey, I gave myself a thumbs up. See, I do the YouTube things as well. Um, was a gentleman by the name of Jamal Harley. Okay. And, I'm not going to lie. He kind of looks like if Spike Lee was 6 feet, or actually 6 feet tall, and was working out at the gym a lot. And he is the founder and main operator of Royal Oak Comics. All right, Royal Oaks Comics. And this dude had so many titles. Look at that handsome gentleman right there. So many titles of comic books, primarily based on science fiction. From Valkyrie Sinclair to one of my favorites, Who's Bad? And I was able to get an interview with him. You guys can find him on Instagram under Royal underscore Oak underscore Comics. And they had some really good stuff. These are some of the pictures from Long Beach Comic Con, and the art, the all that other stuff. This is looking good. So we actually I went to him, and I want you guys to know part of my job. Okay, part of my job when I go to these places. So I'll pull that up in just a second. One of the aspects of my jobs is I go down to these conventions to get interviews, and the thing is, there is a serious protocol of getting interviews at comic book conventions. One of the protocols is when you walk in. It is really important, and I mean like really important, to do the obligatory, and I mean serious obligatory, walk around the convention floor. You got to do at least one lap just to see, not just the people that you were hoping to see there. Okay, because it's really kind of important to see those folks. But even more, you never know who you're going to run into. You never know who you're going to run into. So I ran into this guy, and I was pleasantly pleased. So let's take a look here. Let's take a look on all this jazz. Yeah, that's some good stuff. What you do?
Hi, my name is Jamal Harley. This is Royal Oak Comics. I am a writer and creator and the founder of Royal Oak Comics. Currently, we have 3 titles. We have the Ballad of Valkyrie Sinclair over here, and then we have Who's Bad right here, and then we have Conquer the Galaxy or Die Trying, which is a little too far for me to reach. But those are our 3 titles that we currently have, and we are just trying to tell stories that tell about different power dynamics and overcoming adversity in your past, present, and future.
What you do? So, and when I ran into this dude, I'm like, let's do this whole thing. Here, let's and again, he's got the Valkyrie Sinclair, I believe, is the name of the comic, and that is the Afro cyberpunk thing, and that's like really cool. Who's Bad is another one of the books, and another one was a sci-fi satire that I was like all into. Let's get back to the interview and see what we got here. I said, let's get back to the interview, and I really am the producer. There we go.
So I've been in love with comics since I was 3. My dad got me into comic books, so that started comics animation. Then I always wrote. I started off drawing comics, and I started writing music, started writing stories, screenwriting, and then the pandemic hit, and I always wanted to make a comic book, but I hadn't. So I'm like, now you have the time, because everything shut down in LA, everything shut down. So this is what I'm gonna do, and I started writing, and I couldn't stop. And I have a very
Sadly, oh,
And so yeah,
so
go.
yeah, here we go.
So I've been in love with comic books since I was 3. My dad got me into comic books, so that started it. Comic books, animation. Then I always wrote. I started off drawing comics, and I started writing music and started writing stories. I went to school for screenwriting, and then the pandemic hit, and I always wanted to make a comic book, but I hadn't. So I'm like, now you have the time because everything's shut down. I'm in LA, everything's shut down. So this is what I'm gonna do. And I started writing, and I couldn't stop. And I have a very overactive imagination. And I just, now that I've been able to put it out into the world, I really just can't stop. It's something that fuels me. Working with various different artists, that is just so much fun, and that's what I want to do with my life.
Which is pretty awesome. Working with so many different artists. And yeah. And you know, we had some really good stuff. Let's head back to his Instagram here. And again, on his Instagram, Royal Oak Comics. Yeah, Valkyrie Sin, Who's Bad, and CTGOD. Again, some sci-fi stuff. Really cool stuff. You guys should check out his Instagram. Putting a link right here in the chat because that is what I do. Yeah, I really, really love featuring a lot of these folks, you know, and yeah, his stuff there just amazing. I was super happy to see the stuff that he was coming out for. You know, I see some pretty specific questions like what aspects of cyberpunk does it cover and all that stuff. You guys are going to have to check out the book to find out. And I know it's a lot like, well, I don't know if I want to spend all that money on a new thing. Look, guys, it's $10 to an independent comic artist that doesn't work for Marvel, doesn't work for DC, and still building their following and their fan base. This is like talking to Rob Liefeld when he was 13, guys, you know. And real facts, and I mean like serious real facts on this. These are some good folks, all right? Like I said, the comic book convention this last time was very small. Very, very small. And since it was so small, that means yeah, that literally means that the people that were there because they wanted to be there. And that is some serious stuff, guys. Some serious stuff. You know?
Here with Pro-Life Comics.
Now, the next ones that I wanted to feature here. Okay, and you can find these guys on Facebook. All right? Amazing folks. And these are the folks at Fro Life Comics. All right, Fro Life Comics. Look at all this stuff. Their featured book is The Woman from Afro. You know, I remember growing up. I remember growing up, and I'm like, you ain't Cleopatra Jones. Who you think you is? You ain't Cleopatra Jones. And sure enough, these guys over here, Anthony Jeffrey. Again, one of the reasons I'm doing this is I run in a lot of writer circles, a lot of comic circles. It's one of the reasons that I'm so pro WGA, because the Writers Guild doesn't just cover TV, it covers comics and all that stuff. Yeah, you know, Afro, that thing I used to have before I got all dreaded out and I had too many supernatural experiences. But yeah, and when I run in comic circles, I used to talk about the stuff that well, how can I put this? The stuff that I wanted to see, okay? And I got real tired with a couple of dismissive answers. And the biggest one is, well, if you want to see a comic hero like that, go make your own comic. And I'm like, I'm not a writer. I haven't, like, I studied science. I don't know script format and all that. Yeah, you know what? All those pictures of me from my fro days are gone. They burned up in the LA riots because they were from like the late 70s, early 80s, along with all my Jerry curl pics. So that was kind of a thing. Um, but a lot of people out there, they go out there and they make their own comics. Um, and here's the big thing, and this is something that I'm always pushing. I don't want to sound like a hipster or whatever it is that you call the snobby people that are like, indie, everything is better. I like indie music. I only watch indie movies. Oh, you and your chocolate ice cream. I have indie ice cream. I'm not one of those people. But what I will say is that when you're really focused on just the mainstream stuff, there's a lot of stuff that you miss. There's a whole lot of stuff that you miss. And there are hundreds of independent comic creators out there writing books about people of color, women, LGBTQ, the differently abled, the neurospicy. Like, they are out there. But a good amount of them don't have the resources to create enough books to put in your local comic book store. So when you go out to these conventions and stuff like that, yeah, it's about meeting people. It's about getting like them direct sales to the folks. When I was growing up in the budding days of hip hop and that hippity hoppity thing back there, yes, indie horror on Shudder. I like it. Like, again, I say that the stuff that's out, the stuff that we want to see is probably being done by an indie artist. Not to the same budget as the mainstream stuff, but the stories are out there, And hang on. And like I said, back in my days, the early days of hippity hop, most of the hip hop artists that y'all know nowadays used to sell their CDs out of the trunk of a car. Except back then, our CDs were called cassette tapes, so they were like CTs, really. And they would be selling their stuff out of the trunk of a car. They would like set up a folding table on the corner, be like, "Yo, check out my new stuff, man, just $5." And every once in a while, I would give them the $5 when I had it because I didn't always have $5. And some of those artists y'all know today as Snoop Doggy Dogg, Warren G, 50 Cent. That's what I specifically say them because those are the people I bought the tapes and stuff from back in the day. Didn't get any from Busta Rhymes, unfortunately, because Leaders of the New School was East Coast, I'm West Coast. And when you're 10 or 11, you don't have playing fair to be like, I'm going to go down to the Bronx and see what's up in the hip-hop scene. No, I got Crenshaw Boulevard, all right? And anybody that was selling stuff on Crenshaw, I would, because you never know. A lot of them grew up. And don't get me wrong, wish a couple of them remembered who I was and would maybe sponsor the channel. But I'm out here doing the thing in the same way that they were doing the thing back then. And that was pretty much how it was done. So let's get back to Fro Life Comics. And yeah, I mean, the women of Afro, this is like amazing. There's a link to frolife.com. Okay, yeah, look at all that. Look at that, frolife.com. And you can get the comics, the merch. What, is that Sam Jackson? Well, that looks like Sam Jackson. Where that is Samuel L. Jackson wearing Frozilla, one of their merch things. So seriously, man, if Mace Windu is down for these guys, come on, y'all need to do the thing. All right, if Mace Windu is throwing these guys some flowers, y'all could do a little pedal every once in a while. I'm not trying to tell you guys to order stuff or how to spend your money. I don't do that. Okay, but give them a thumbs up on Facebook. Just show some support. Maybe do some follows. Help get their algorithms out there. And this is one of the reasons that I'm trying to really focus on a lot of these artists and stuff. So let's see what these guys got to say. Yeah, let's take a look here. All right. Cool, cool, cool. Why don't you tell the folks who you are, what you do, and why you do it?
All right, well, my name is Anthony Jefferson. I'm founder of Fro Life Comics and Fro Life Clothing, but I'm here today at Long Beach Comic Con to introduce my very first comic, The Woman from Afro, starring Stella Rae Simone, who is a secret agent in the employ of the covert organization Afro, the all-female revolutionary organization.
Nice, nice. And
I'm Jennifer. I am the wife, and I feed him. So I feed his mind so that he can create these amazing stories for everyone to enjoy.
now, yeah, she says she's the wife and she feeds them. What that translates to for all you guys out there and the rest of America is she's the real boss and she's just being cool. All right. So, all right. So yeah, why'd you guys get into comics? Was it like a lifelong thing? Did you always want to write for comics, or?
You know, I come by it through way of film. I was an avid comic collector as a kid. More like DC Dark Horse kind of stuff. Alien vs. Predator was definitely my favorite comic, that original series. I still have those. And then I got out of it for a long while. But I work in film and television now, and was working as an independent director. I also worked as a set lighting technician. And trying to make films happen is very expensive, and you need to draw together a lot of people to do it. And it's something that's easier to do in your younger years, but as you get older, it kind of gets harder to collect all that money and all that people to make your dreams happen. And I've always been creative, and I've always liked writing stories, and it just shifted into comic books. And over the pandemic, I wrote a comic book script, and then I found out that, I found an artist, and little step by step, I was able to make this issue work.
Very cool, very cool. All right, Deckers, I am here. So yeah. So seriously speaking, throw some of these dudes some love. Throw some of these dudes some love. Now, the next thing we're doing, now this one has a straight up Kickstarter. So let's take a look at this Kickstarted thing. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, so let's take a look at this Kickstarter. I said push play.
Writer and illustrator of my comic book series. My name is Marcus D. Newsom. I am the creator, writer, and illustrator of my comic book series, Lightning Strike! I'm here on Kickstarter to ask for your support for my very first animated short film, Lightning Strike. It's a 10-minute film that I'm hoping to turn into a 2D animated series. You must be thinking, who is Lightning Strike? It was based off personal experience growing up in poverty, living in Compton during a time when the violence and the most notorious drug dealers and gang members and crooked cops ruled the city of Compton. In the midst of all the chaos, the corruption, the depression in the city, there's a hidden beauty within the community. Trying to give back to my community within my art, my stories, and my education. Lightning Strike follows this young man that was struck by lightning during a football game and gained superpowers. Now he uses his powers to fight back the injustice that's going on in his community. Please pledge to this campaign, like and share on social media, and let's strike back against the injustice that's going on in our community. Thank you.
Now, see, I'm not going to lie. This particular one means a little bit to me, because the dude is from Compton. And, that's a hop, skip, and a jump from where I grew up. So that's a real thing. And I was able to actually sit down and talk with he and his wife at the thing. And we talked a lot. And why am I saving him for last? I will tell you why I'm saving him for last, guys. Because, Lightning Strike and these guys will have a table at the next Decker Day, which is going to be in less than a month. Putting everything together and making sure I can get the venue. And yeah, he's actually gonna have a table and a booth signing, and he's gonna be on our panel and all that stuff. And yeah, let's have a little talk with these guys. Cause not gonna lie, and yeah, let's see what we got here. Let's yeah, yeah, because like I said, talked with this guy and his very prego wife, and yeah, so let's see. Yeah, all right. There we go. Sorry, pulling up the footage. I'm bad at this, okay? God, I really am. I am bad at this. So, I planned on being a bit better, y'all. The problem that I had was my editing software took a crap on me this week. So let's take a look.
Write and tell a story that I can basically just get off my chest, because I went through a lot as a teenager. I wanted to create something that can relate to people, and I can just get it off my chest, because going through it was so painful. I wanted to share that pain with the world. I came up with the idea for the comic book because I wanted to create and write and tell a story that I can basically just get off my chest, because I went through a lot as a teenager. I wanted to create something that can relate to people, and I can just get it off my chest, because going through it was so painful. I wanted to share that pain with the world. Start now? I decided to make
Hold up.
I don't need to jump in.
Okay.
Since you did the comic book before.
And finally,
I'm married to the author, illustrator, and animator of Lightning Strike. Together we are Team Lightning Strike.
My name is Marcus D. Newsom. I am the artist, writer, and creator of Lightning Strike. It's so crazy because it's like you just think of it in your head and it just comes out wrong, right?
this is cool. And cut. Yeah, who you are, what you do, all that stuff, and talk to them. So yeah, guys, seriously, check out the Kickstarter. Y'all can find Marcus. Okay, hang on real quick. Boom. Let me see. I know I pulled up the link right here, but y'all can find Marcus over on Instagram as well. Let me double check here. Lightning Strike. Yeah, it took me a hot minute to find him, but I did eventually find him. And yeah, guys, check out some of these things. Marcus. There we go. Wait, are we friends now? We are friends now. Look at all this. All right, cool. We are friends over on we are friends over on the Book of Face here. So let me just double check to see if we can. Yeah, where's the about page? Boom. There we go. Pull that up there. And seriously, the dude is much like the song, straight out of Compton. And he is, he's a good dude. And again, we kind of joked around a little bit during the interview, and I'm like, I'm not going to say nothing about black people, black superheroes and lightning. There's already been an article written about that. But seriously, guys, check out Fro-Life, the Lightning Strikes Kickstarter. I'm going to put that here in the chat. Just putting it right there in the chat. I said in the chat. There we go. And of course, Royal Oak Comic, who actually has the largest amount of stuff of the people that we interviewed. All of this stuff is amazing. Okay, let's just put up that Instagram thing. And let them know let all these folks know you heard about them through me here at Back in the Deck. Seriously. Because every independent needs the support of people. That's the only way they go mainstream. All right. So, let's let's get into some gaming. Okay, let's get into some gaming. Now, Games Workshop did some stuff because, as we know, they released 10th edition Warhammer 40K, all that stuff. And they also, in doing the whole 10th edition and all that jazz, now is the time that they released essentially the first patch. All right, they released some of the balancing rules for the new edition. Let me see if I can pull these things up. I'm running off 3 screens and like 100 tabs right now. I'm normally more prepped for this, but I was out earlier today at the nope. Yeah, I was out at the there we go. I was out today at the protests over at Paramount Studios, and that was a whole lot of hot. Today was a lot of hot. A lot of hot. So, what was released this week? This came out last Sunday, and I've been looking at it. And I was hoping to get one of the deckers out there that do play a lot of 40K, because I've seen a lot of compare and contrast to previous editions. But I'm going to look at this, as you guys know, from a new player standpoint. Okay? So let's take a look at this. This is the new balanced data slate for autumn 2023. And they fixed a couple of things, because, again, it's the first patch. If y'all are into games, I don't care if they're tabletop or video games, y'all know this was coming. Y'all knew it was coming. We always release the stuff, and then it goes to tournament, and people start playing, and they're like, oh, we didn't see that was broken before we released it. So the first thing that they made, the change they made to Devastating Rules, or Devastating Wounds, which, let me take a look here. Some weapons can inflict strikes of such power that I hate flavor text. Weapons with the Devastating Wounds in their profile are known as Devastating Wounds weapons. The new rule is each time an attack is made with such a weapon, if that attack scores a critical wound, i.e. a natural 6, when you roll to wound, okay, no saving throw of any kind can be made against that attack, including invulnerable saving throws. Such attacks are only allocated to models after all other attacks made by the attacking units have been allocated and resolved. Saving throws cannot be made against critical wounds made by this weapons, including invulnerable saving throws. Okay, that is big. Okay, that is really big, and I like it a lot. So many times you get like, hey, look, I got like 5 devastating wounds on the thing, and they're like, okay, my devastating wounds are armor piercing 3, so you need to roll a 6 to do it. And they're like, I'm just gonna roll my 4+ invulnerable, and it's like, well, what's the point? So now, once the devastating wound happens, that goes through. That's just a wound that you're taking. Now, I don't know if this is covered by Feel No Pain. I'll have to find out about that, because it's like, I got wounded, but I didn't get hurt. I don't know. If you guys don't play things like Warhammer 40K, that doesn't make any sense when you say it out loud, but trust me, in the ecosystem of a tabletop war game, it's a thing. Now, let's take a look at modifying stratagem CP. Rules that modify the cost of a stratagem when you target a particular unit can only do so for a stratagem that targets multiple units if every unit you target has the same ability to modify the CP of the stratagem. Rules that modify the CP cost of a stratagem, but that does not specify the name of the stratagem, can only be used to affect the CP cost of battle tactic stratagems. And this is important because stratagems do come in a few different flavors now. Okay? This does not apply to the Aircast Colossus, Striding Colossus, or Towering Wraith construct abilities. I don't know what that means. Let's take a look at the example. Captain's Rights of Battle ability enables a model to be targeted by a stratagem for 0 CP. Okay. So no command points and all that stuff. This ability does not specify a name of a stratagem, so it can only be used to use a battle tactic type of stratagem. So if there's an ability that says reduce the cost of a stratagem, it's got to be within this particular subgroup of stratagems, which is cool. Okay. And if it does reduce something to the cost of 0, the only way it doesn't affect only that one is if the stratagem is mentioned by name. Okay, I dig that. I really do dig that. Now, again, these patches and stuff, one of the things that stratagem can be used, strategies that can be used more than once per phase. Rules allow you to use a stratagem even if another unit has been targeted by that stratagem in this phase or turn, but that do not specify the name of the stratagem, can only be used for battle tactic stratagems. Okay, so that's not terrible. I hate going over rule stuff like this. It sounds so technical. But there are, and I've seen so many games where, here's the thing. These things become really important because, especially in competitive play, specifically tournaments, people are looking for every single edge they can get. You know, it's like pushing the chain in the line of skirmish in football. If you can get this little loophole and that little loophole, that might push you over the edge to a victory. So, rules as intended, as we did an episode on this, ROI, that where the intention is common sense and kind of fun, that doesn't apply in competitive environments. You know, the card says moops, guys. So let's see. Firing Overwatch. Now, Overwatch has been changed during your opponent's movement or charge phase. The red has the different thing, so you can still do the whole thing. One unit from your army that's within 24 inches of that enemy unit that would be eligible to shoot. Okay. However, if that enemy unit is visible to your unit can shoot the enemy. This is big. Okay. You cannot target a Titanic unit with this stratagem. And you know what? I'm okay with that. I'm really okay with that. So here's the thing. Okay. A Titanic unit is a toy like the Polkabot and Imperial Knight. You know, most of the figures are like 1 to 2 inches tall. You know, we got these little dudes, and most of the terrain tends to be 1.5 to 2 inches tall. But every once in a while, you'll get like a 2-story building that are ruins, and it looks kind of cool. So Titanic models have the towering rule. And what that means is if they are taller than the building, they can't hide. Okay, and that makes all the sense. If they're taller than the forest, they can't hide behind the forest. Okay, it's this cinematic thing for gameplay purposes. All right, so if you've got a robot that's supposed to be like 70 feet tall, it can see over everything. It there you go. That's more than 3 stories tall, guys. You know, so what does that mean though? That also means they can be targeted by stuff. But the Overwatch stratagem essentially says shoot your enemy on their turn. Exactly. Godzilla didn't hide behind Tokyo Tower. Why should the exactly? However, the Overwatch stratagem essentially says, hold up, while you're going to be charging me, or while you're going to be moving toward me, I'm just going to blast on you. All right? And I've never seen a case where line of sight wasn't used except for indirect fire. And so far, what I've seen in the battle reports I've watched and some of the forums that I read, and I hate reading forums, overwatching with indirect fire has just been brutal. It's been brutal. You got a tank on the far side of the board that's like every turn. And when they have Overwatch, that means they can fire on your opponent's turn. So it's like, I'm lighting you up with indirect fire. Now, why does this not cover Titanic models? Well, Godzilla can't hide behind Tokyo Tower, but that also means Godzilla can't use his breath weapon while you're running toward him or away. Not on your turn. You can run away and he can chase you. But that also means if people take in giant robots that are essentially really, really big gun platforms, realistic as that might be in a war scenario, that does not make for a fun game. Okay? Think about it like this. You've got an army that's full of swords, and all you got to do is get all up on them. You got to make it across the board, and then you can be like, I'm pounding you, I'm pounding you, I'm pounding. And then they drop this giant robot that whose toy is literally a foot tall. A whole foot tall. Yes, gun platforms and mobile churches. You know, and they drop down this foot tall robot that has 24-inch ranges on a 4-foot wide board. So they can hit half of the board and they can see all of it. All of it. So it's like, why are my guys trying to get to these objectives when this robot that's pretty much a little further back than the middle of the board, that has all the armor, all the hit points, and all the guns, are just sitting up there picking off my whole army? That's not a game. That's like sparring with Chuck Norris or sparring with, Jackie Chan. Have fun with that. Actually, Chow Yun-Fat, because he's the one that does all the gun stuff. So it's like, yeah, I'm out here. I want to practice some kung fu. Oh, Chow Yun-Fat pulls out 245s, stands at the top of a building and just shoots and says, "Oh, we'll fight when you get here." Bam, 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 bam. So I like that. I like that a lot. I like the fact that you can't target these Titanic units. Yeah, exactly. The opponent, the Overwatch, the person who's being shot with Overwatch. Yeah, it was nice to set up my figures and then put them away because God knows I wasn't playing a game. So let's get to the next fix. That's actually a fix I kind of like. I do. The next fix that we got here is this one, and I am a really, really, really big fan of this one. Insane Bravery. Now, I can tell you the way that it worked when they released the index card. It's essentially, there's a condition in the game called Battle Shock. And it is, they shooting, I don't know what to do. And you make a leadership role, and your folks don't run away. Okay, you don't run away. You don't get routed. But if you're battle shocked, you can't hold on to objectives. In a game where you score points by holding objectives, that unit can't do it for that turn, and you can't use stratagems on them, which means you can't use one of the special, let's call stratagem spells. Okay, you can't use one of these spells that give them +1 armor or +1 to their defense or +1 to their offense. They are just out there. They ain't listening to nobody. They can't have any spells on, nothing. They're just out there. And it's supposed to be like the 10th edition change that really differentiates it from the other editions of the game. However, there was a stratagem called Insane Bravery. All right? And essentially, during your command phase, you could spend a command point, which you automatically get at the beginning of your command phase and at the beginning of your opponent's command phase. And when you make the test to do Battle Shock, if you fail it, you spent 1 CP and you passed it. That was it. So this new mechanic that they added to the game just had no teeth. It was something that most players were just ignoring. But let's take a look at this change. 1. When do you use it? You use it at the Battle Shock step of your command phase before you take the test. Okay? Before you check to see if your unit will be Battle Shocked, you either use it or you don't. And I like that. I like that a lot, because if you've got 3 units that are going to test for Battle Shock, before you would test for Battle Shock, hope they pass, and if they didn't, you would use the stratagem. Now it's, are you going to use the stratagem or are you going to risk it? And I like that a lot. I do. I like that a lot. A unit from it target, yeah. And your unit automatically passes the Battle Shock test, all right? And here's the big change, the one that I like about it. Restrictions. You cannot use this stratagem more than once per battle. So instead of doing it every single round, you can do this once per game. One time. You get one time to say, hey, snap out of it. And I like that a lot. I really like that a lot. Because again, in any game that is competitive, something that can be abused will be abused by the people who want to win. Okay? Those are the major ones I got. There were some changes to specific units, and there was an adjustment of point cost. But sadly, guys, I don't feel great right now, and a lot of these things I don't know very well. So I'm trying to make an appointment with Charles Mendez from the guild house, to sit down with me and explain them to me. So when I get that day, we will go through them in a live cast, maybe next Wednesday, possibly Monday. I'm not quite sure. I'm still checking what his availability is. Okay, so there's a lot of stuff that's involved with that. All right. So finally, the thing I really wanted to talk about today. There was a new edition of one-page rules that came out, and a lot of people were asking, real talk, a lot of people were asking, oh, are they going to release a new one to compete with 10th edition, to compete with 10th edition Warhammer 40K and all that stuff? And I'm like, I don't care. I like this game. I actually like it better than I like 40K. It's just a matter of you can like anything you want. But good luck finding people to play with. Okay. But I do have a Grimdark Futures group, so I'm really jazzed about that. So let's take a look at some of these changes, because I can do a compare and contrast with this one since I knew the rules so well. So let's see. We got the quality tests. And again, that works. Now remember, quality, defense, those are the only 2 stats. But there's a third one now. So let's see here. Okay, so they've changed the game to a 2,000 point game, which is kind of cool, because if you're a 40K player and you're going into Grimdark Future, which is the lightweight version from a different company that actually wants you to play the game. The point differential is about 1.5 to 1. What does that mean? That means you get 1,500 points for in Warhammer 40K. You get that many units and that many models for the price of 1,000 in game playing Grimdark Future. All right. So that being the case, this game is a lot faster than 40K, but they've upped the size to a standard game of Grimdark Future. You will be essentially fielding your 3,000 point Warhammer army, and that's kind of cool. Let's see. Now we got some force building rules over here, which are kind of good. You can only take one hero / caster per 500 points in the army. All right. And only 1 times X copies of the same unit, where X is 1 per 1,000 points. So if you're playing a 2,000 point game, you can only bring 2 copies of any particular unit. Now, hold up, guys. Hold up. Stop. Now, they have something in this game called combined units. So if something comes in a unit of, say, 10, and you want to pay double the price, you can bring 20. Okay? Same restrictions apply. So you can get a whole bunch of models on the board. And if you guys are going, oh, well, they're only doing that so you buy more models, this is a miniature agnostic game, guys. They're not selling models. They have STL files. But once you get the STL files, like I do from the Patreon, you can print as many figures as you have the resin to do. So if you want your Battle Sisters to come in squads of 40, or squads of 20, because you can have up to 10 Battle Sisters and one thing, and you can have 2 of those things. Then yeah, you are good. No more Necromancer Cabals? Not quite. Because these, when they said hero / caster units, what they mean is individual figures. Think about them like named characters. Okay? If you are playing a magic heavy army that has a caster and a plain unit of infantry, you can still have them. But only one of those models in that unit will have the caster score. We'll get to that. Okay? So it's still played on a 6x4 foot board, which is good. So yeah, here we go. The example of the forces. 4 heroes / casters, maximum 3 copies of each unit, and no unit worth over 700 points in 2,000. And these are their competitive rules. So you essentially get like 10 units, you know. The battlefield is still played on a 6x4. The mission, D3 plus 2 objectives. Okay, and there's also an objective deck. And again, these decks are free, so that's good. Now, still got the same activation, still got the same movement. However, we got some new keywords. Oh, and dangerous terrain. The terrain rules have been made so much more clear. So before, I just ignored it. But cover gives a +1 in defense. Difficult terrain. If a unit is moving through difficult terrain, it can't move any more than 6 inches. That's it. That's it. No more than 6 inches total at a time. And I like this rule because the standard movement of everything without a keyword in this game, it walks 6 inches and it runs / charges up to 12. That's it. All right. One of the things I really hate in a lot of tabletop miniatures games is when you have to add modifiers to your movement. You're like, okay, I've got 3 inches until the rough terrain. Well, I got a total movement of 8, but I got 3 inches to the rough terrain. Now, when I go into the rough terrain, I don't lose an inch, but as I'm moving through, then I have to move double. But when I'm moving out, I don't have to do okay? No. If you move through it, you're capped out at 6. So essentially, you can't run through rough terrain. You can charge, but you're stuck at 6 inches. I like that. Okay? Simple, clean, elegant. That's a rough patch, no more than 6 inches. Moving on with gameplay and no more arguing. I like that a lot. And dangerous terrain. Now, dangerous terrain is something new. And it's not new, but it's been out there. And before it was like this complicated thing. Now, you roll a die for each model that's going over dangerous terrain. And every time you roll a 1, that's how many wounds are getting distributed through that team. So think about it like your guys are jumping from one rooftop to another rooftop. Each one of them makes a roll, and as long as they don't roll a 1, they don't fall down or get swallowed up by a machine or fall onto spikes, you know. So that's good. Now, there is a new thing here. Now, blast. Each attack ignores cover, and that's good. And it multiplies its hit by X, but can't deal more hits than there are models in the unit. That is really big, okay? Blast used to work with each model that was hit ended up each 1 successful hit equaled 3 successful hits. That's just how it went. And you got a defense roll on each one. But if you split your fire, okay, if you split, 1 hit equals 3 hits, but those 3 hits can't all go on the same guy. You got to spread them out. But if there's 2 people and you got 2 blast weapons, then it just got all weird. So now the way it's done is it can't deal more hits than model and target unit. So if you're shooting a blast weapon at the rest of a unit and there's only 2 models in that unit, okay, each blast hit will do no more than 2 damage. Each individual hit will be no more than 2 damage. Now, if you've got something that has blast and a 5 die attack, each one of those attacks will do no more than 1 damage to your initial hit target and 1 damage to the guy standing next to him. It's that simple. All right. However, this is new. We've got 2 new things, and honestly, I like them. All right. So, let's take a look. Caster X. Now, there used to be a thing called Psychic, and that said whether or not you could cast spells. They dropped it. Now it's Caster X. Now, the way that Psychic used to work is each spell had a specific cost, like a 3+ or a 4+ or a 5+, and you would take your psychic rating of like 1 or 2, you would roll a d6, you would add those together, and that would determine whether or not you successfully pulled off that spell or countered that spell. Okay? It was an elegant mechanic. It was not that hard to understand once you did it, but it wasn't fun because whenever you're casting a spell, you're only rolling 1 die. And yeah, it's like, is this it? No. Oh. But now, at the beginning of your turn, you get caster tokens on all the models in your unit that have the caster keyword. All right? Like Caster X. And no casters, like all the casters cap out at 6. All right? So let's see. It gets X spell tokens at the beginning of each round. This is big. So if you've got caster 2, caster 3, that's how many mana points you're getting at the beginning of the round. Okay? Per model that has that thing. Now, the way spells work now is they have a cost. You have to spend those mana points, and then you got to roll a die. Okay? However, you're shooting for 4. That's it. You roll 1 die, so it's still not all that great. But you're trying to roll a 4 or higher, and you've got 50-50. So if you want to cast a spell that's like a lightning bolt or something, and it costs 2 spell points, mana points, I don't care what you call them, then you spend those 2, you roll a die, and you try and get a 4. Now, the second way, and this is actually kind of cool, is you can modify that by spending more mana. Okay? Every magic point that you spend over the cost gives you a +1 to your roll, but you have to spend it before you roll. Okay? Yes, bippity bobbity points. Okay, yeah. Sure. So if you've got like a lightning bolt that costs 2 mana points, you spend the 2 mana points or 2 of the bippity boppity points, you roll a die, and you hope for 4. However, if you spend 2 more bippity boppity points, then you successfully cast the spell on a 2 up. And I like that. I like that a lot. Now, a couple of other keywords here. Counter. Counter, I like. Okay? Counter, I like. Counter strikes first with this weapon when they are charged. Enemies charging units, where all the models have this rule, only hit on 6s when rolling impact attacks. And we're going to get to impact. Okay? But if you counter, I'm going to charge you, and we are going to kick you, and you are going to run into our swords as you're charging. I like that. I like that a lot. Especially because, realistically speaking, in medieval warfare, there were pike lines to stop horses. And it's true. It was. So, that is really cool. I do like that. And impact hits, we'll get to that. But if you have something that has impact, like horses or motorcycles, well, let's go to impact right here. They get X attacks that hit on a 2 up when charging. So before, okay, when you had something that had impact, like a bike or a horse or a giant freaking dinosaur, you would get your impact rating and automatic hits whenever they charged. So I've got an ankylosaur from my dinosaurs riding dinosaurs, and it charges a bunch of inspired by but legally distinct from Imperial Guards. When they hit, those guards take an impact of 3. So they automatically have to make sure 3 dudes don't get trampled. Now, the charging thing that has the impact rule has to make a roll. It's a 2 up, so it's almost an automatic hit. But we all know dice tell stories, and ones are the narrators. Okay? So that's big. That's really big. Fast hasn't changed. Fear hasn't changed. Flying doesn't change. However, fearless. When making a morale check on a die, you went on a 4+. This is big because they're not really Space Marines, but we all know that they were Space Marines. When they had fearless, it was a +1 to their quality roll. But most of their, let's be real, these are Space Marines, we just can't call them that because we don't want to get sued, had a quality rating of 2+. 2+. And fearless. You see what I mean? So now a fearless roll is a 4. That's it. 4 or higher. It doesn't matter what your stats are. You're rolling a 4 plus. Indirect. Okay, Lance is a new one. Lance, like if you have a lance and you make a charge attack, you get AP plus 2. I like that because you're ramming that thing through the armor. I like that a lot. Now poison is interesting because the old rule for poison was when you were shooting with a weapon that has poison, every unmodified 6 counted as 3 hits instead of 1 hit. They still got their defense roll, but it counted as 3 hits to whoever was hit, be it a solo or a unit. So if you've got, say, a bunch of geckos that have blowguns and they all go at attack power 2, so that's 2 attacks per gecko, so you're hitting with 10 geckos, so you're rolling 20 dice with poison. All of those 6s don't just hit, but they generate 2 more hits per 6. That was brutal. But now, if a target is poisoned, it must re-roll defense rolls. Must re-roll all unmodified defense rolls of 6 when blocking. That changes the game so hard, because that means if they roll a 6, try again, it didn't count. I like that. You're poisoned. You're trying to defend against, I don't know, spray of liquid or something aerosolized. And so, yeah, I like the fact that poison is now something that the defender has to worry about versus something the attacker has to hope for. I'm looking forward to that. Okay. Reliable is good. That means if you have a reliable weapon, your quality is 2 up. That's nice. That's like the sniper rule from 40K. And the sniper rule from here, which is good. Yeah. Okay. That's so looking at these changes, I like them a lot. I do. I like them a lot. I really like poison. I really like caster. I really do. As someone who was thinking about playing Thousand Suns in 40K, just thinking about it, haven't decided. I really, really like the fact that you generate spell points. I like that. I do. Magic didn't quite feel magical in Grimdark Future. That was like my one of like 3 complaints about the whole game. And, the rolling the 1 die, wasn't really a big fan. It's like, I have magic. That is an A1. But now that there are spell points and you can manipulate that roll, I like that a lot. I really do. It feels, well, as a living, breathing spellcaster, it feels a lot closer to what magic is. Like, I want to put a little extra oomph into my spells. And maybe I don't want to put a little extra oomph. I like the fact that it gives the choice now. That's very cool. That's very cool. One day, Param will watch this show. But yeah, and I like counter. I like that GDF now has a fight first mechanic, because I can tell you from having been in many fights and had that screw you old man moment with 3 of my big brothers, doing that yell and run at them like I was Adam Sandler in The Water Boy, and then my brothers that could fight would just kick me in the stomach as I'm running toward them. Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot. So it's, you're gonna attack me. Still want to? No. So yeah, I like this a lot. I think this is a very cool update to the rules. Pretty much everything else stays the same, and I like that. I like that it comes with a mission, which is very cool. So yeah, this is, and I love the fact that it's still one page. Now, I'll probably get the new 3.0 24 page thing, some part of the Patreon. But yeah, again, this is, I guess, like 40K's new thing is simplified, not simple. I like simple. Simple is good. Simple is easy to teach, and simple is easy to play. I got a chance to play another game of 40K. It was a combat patrol game, but it was with a new player. So the game ended up taking like 3.5 hours. But even when I teach a brand new person how to play Grimdark Future or Grimdark Firefight, we're in and out in maybe 90 minutes. And with my friends who know how to play, my standard group, yeah, we can play a full-scale army game like we're playing 40K in about an hour. So it has that beer and pretzels thing going. It flows really good, and I'm always really excited about it. So I'm a big fan. I'm a really big fan, and I like the upgrades they did to 3.0. I can definitely tell they spent a lot of time in game testing, and since they don't have the big competitive scene like War Machine, Warhammer, Bolt Action, Marvel Crisis Protocol have, there won't be a lot of people essentially breaking these new rules for a little while. So if you guys are interested, just head on over to onepagerules.com /game/Grimdark Future, that kind of thing. Yeah, here we go. Like, this is the website. This is onepagerules.com. And you can just head on over and download the rules for free. They've got the free army builder. It's not behind a paywall, and you don't have to buy a codex for it. So that's actually pretty awesome. But now I gotta pop some ibuprofen and drive in rush hour traffic all the way to beautiful Long Beach, California. That's gonna be some fun stuff. But I want to thank you guys, and I mean this. I want to thank you guys for being here, and for holding it down. And serious, check out some of the stuff that we took a look at. Special thanks to Neon Arlecchino, of course. Hey, GM, Commander Root, Drop Snatch. Thank you guys. Thank you guys so much for being here. And if you guys got any questions or comments or anything, hit me up at backinthedeck@gmail.com. It's BACKINTHEDECK @gmail.com. You can also hit me up on Twitter at backinthedeck. You can also hit me up on Instagram and the Clock app. Instagram is Back in the Deck. The Clock app is BidP, BIDPY. And of course, hit me up on Facebook on Deckers on the Book. Thank you, Neon Arlecchino, for dropping the link to the Discord, because we got the Discord. And, if you guys are so inclined, please head on over to TeePublic. Grab yourselves a coffee mug or a t-shirt. Because of global warming, it is super, super hot. Oh, of course, we've got the 20% off sale. No wonder I don't make any money from this. But yeah, we got 20% off sale going, and because of global warming and it's still stupid hot, we got tank tops too. And get yourself a wife beater with a Lil Soul on him. Hey, what's up? It's Lil Soul. And and of course, if you guys do find some value, I'm just gonna, oh no, not that one. I'm gonna put up the donation stuff, and please like and share and subscribe and all those other places. Thank you guys for being here. Now I got to get back to the rest of the day. Thank you guys so much. I'll have Happy With It up on our Patreon by tomorrow, and maybe a couple of other things out there. So if you guys want to join up, we've got the $5 tier on Patreon, or the $1 tier if you're super duper broke. I was going to get rid of it, but I'm like, you know what? I'm hurting for cash, and I'm pretty sure that most of the people that watch my show are like me in that as well. So if anybody tells you that you guys can't like what you like because of the circumstances of your birth, be it race, religion, creed, gender identity, sexual orientation, disability, neurodivergency, or your budget, because anyone who's ever been to a trailer park knows that it's never more than walking distance from the hood, you look at those people and tell them to take any card they're trying to play on you and put it back in the deck. This is Solar Gray, the Cinematic Sorcerer, saying thank you guys for joining me today, and we will see you next time on the dark side of the road.